Okay. Hi, welcome to the TacoCast. I'm Crystal,
I'm Will.
and your audience on this lovely Sunday. So, this is a pre recorded message since Will is going to be out of town on this Sunday.
Bye bye. Not here.
So, I'm hoping it's a lovely
In case
Sunday.
I die, this is the last video that I'll ever be recording.
That's not true. He's filming another one today.
All
That's
right.
the last one.
Yeah,
that
that's
we
true. I
released.
actually have 3 that are in the editing stage right now. Every single day this week, Monday through Friday, I'm launching a video on a time delayed setup.
See how much Will cares about you? He's putting in all of this work to get these videos ahead of time. So
That's
you
on my
guys
other
can have
channels. So, yeah. All right. So today's topic, we want to talk about identity theft and how prevalent identity theft is here in America, especially during the COVID shutdown. But even before the actual COVID shutdown, identity theft has been a kind of, it's something that's important. It happens a lot, but is not as widely covered by the media than as you should think. At the same time, a lot of people, especially those over the age of 65, who are victims of identity theft, don't take it as serious as they should. Sure, somebody hacked into my email address or they hacked into their Facebook account, and they think that is the only thing that these people have actually gained access to, or maybe it was a niece or a nephew who grandma is only seen once or twice per year. Got an auto loan, and they used them as a secondary, co-signer on the loan, but without their approval. Then you might think that that's as far as it goes. But statistically, according to the Department of Justice, if someone in your family is willing to abuse you and your credit and your history once, they're willing to do it again within a 6-month period, especially if they get away with it and there's no legal ramifications for them. Like, my nephew took out a credit card and used me as a co-signer on it. Well, you say to that nephew, you pay that back or I'm going to the police. The nephew pays you back. Within 6 months of that, statistically, the odds are extraordinary that they're going to come back and do it again, use you in some other way. And so I wrote down some statistics on things that, when it comes to identity theft, that everyone should watch out for, and how you can check. And I will put links here in the video description on how you can get a free copy, and you're eligible to get a free copy from all 3 credit bureaus. It's one combined credit score, but you can get one free credit report every year for free. I suggest you check your credit report a heck of a lot more than that. The professionals out there say you should do it every 6 months, if not every 3 months or 4 months, in that type of ratio throughout the year. Because once somebody has accessed your credit and has abused your credit, be it a family member or someone you've never known, they're going to do it again. Because these things are widely also traded online in the dark web, and it's scary.
So, Will, is most financial abuse actually from people that you know, or is it people buying and trading your information?
Good question. According to the Department of Justice, of the over 800,000 cases reported in 2009 alone, they believe that 800,000 is only a third of the actual total number of identity theft cases in 2019, because a large majority of them are never reported. Of the 800,000, 600,000 roughly is, they believe, is somebody who knows you personally, either sister, brother, nephew, niece, some kind of relation, best friend. There are stories where these people have come in and your best friend needed, to move because they were in a terrible situation or housing situation, and they used your credit to get a lease. And without trying to, without meaning to, they destroy the place, and they can't pay for the damages or whatever when they move out again, maybe in, down the road 4 years from now, but not remembering that you're on the hook along with them for those damages, and the credit agency out there, the apartment complex goes after who's ever on that original paperwork. They're going to go back through everybody, go after anybody that they can find with a credit history or a job or money or whatever to pay up to recoup their damages. But 600,000 of those 800,000 that were reported, they believe, are from people who knew the actual victim. So those who are on the dark web is a smaller fraction, but there is no real hard, okay, it's 221,000 or whatever that they're just giving estimates, because again, only a third of all the cases that ever happen are reported to the actual police department.
Oh, thank you.
So of the 800,000 cases, that have happened in just 2019, they do not have statistics yet for 2020. The 2020 year will not come out until almost 2021 at the end of the year. It takes time to compile the actual data itself. But some of the things that you can do to stop someone from accessing, or if they do have access, get access to your credit report, is you have the ability and the right to contact the tribunal, credit reporting agencies, the Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. You have the right to obtain a free copy of your credit report every year. But on top of that, you also have the right to put what's called a freeze on your actual credit report. So nobody can open up a new credit line in your name. No one can use your credit, or social security number to obtain even a car loan or a rental agreement. Nothing at all. It totally freezes it. And if one of those three agencies approve any additional credit line without you taking the actual freeze off of the account, they're 100% responsible under federal law. If they allow anybody to open a credit line after you've put a freeze on it, that's important to actually know. That's something that it comes down to it. The credit reporting agencies don't like to talk about the fact that they're responsible if they screw up and allow something to come through. Other tips that according to the Department of Justice, that you should do and do regularly, and unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, and give you an example of the next following that is scary. But I actually know several people who don't do these things. One thing that you can do to stop someone from gaining access to your credit history and your credit file to open credit cards or credit lines of credit or whatever to get your information is someone who doesn't collect their mail on a regular basis. Mail theft is by far one of the fastest ways to gain access to your information. Number 2 on that list is phishing, to gain access to your personal information that way.
I think it's just pronounced fishing.
Phishing, whatever. The next is third on the list is not checking your credit reports, your credit file on a regular basis. Now, along with checking, gathering your mail on a daily basis, there's also a strong need to open your actual mail itself and actually go through. If you have credit cards or bank cards, to be diligent to look at your actual statements for anything that is wrong on there. Did you have a charge on your Discover or MasterCard or Visa that in a location that you've never been to, or to a website that you've never been to, and it could be for something as minor as a penny or maybe a dollar. And what these are doing is it's called a ping. They try to set up a bogus card and they to your name, and then they ping your actual credit line to see if it's active. And they want to do it for a small amount because once they figure out, okay, this one's active, then they can set up a demi card and they can clean you out. They never have an actual card. They do it all by a number pad on a machine, and boom, and they don't have to swipe it. They just have to enter the actual information that might be obtainable through the mail on your basis if you do not collect and open and actually keep active and watch your actual credit history and file and credit cards and bank statements as well, especially bank statements. Because I know for a fact, I was talking to several members, of my golf league, elderly people. They're in their 70s and 80s, who, and this is the the cautionary tale that I wanted to tell you about, is they don't check their mail on a regular basis. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't check your mail on a regular basis? Well, I check it once a month. I collect the mail from my mailbox once a month. And I'm like, where's your mailbox at? Well, it's at the end of the road next to my house. And if it gets too full, the mailman's really, he'll put a bag and hang it on the flag on my mailbox and then just put the mail in there if it's too full. I'm like, are you kidding me? You allow your mail to be gathered outside of the actual mailbox because you can't drive down to the end of the driveway to get it? Well, some days, my knees or my back or whatever, they have excuses why they don't do it. And I'm like, have you thought about post office box? Like, you can get a big post office box and all the mail is just dumped into there. Yeah, but there were several of them who do that.
Dang. That's damn. I just can't imagine not checking your mail when it comes. I mean, there's plenty of stuff, as you know, that I'm just like, I don't want to deal with this today. But at least I've put my eyeballs on it and I know it's there.
Yeah, but it's important that you actually check. This happened to us. We have a gas card, and our gas card was accessed by someone in another state for fuel charges that don't even belong to a type of vehicle we own.
Yeah, we don't own our diesel.
None of our none of our vehicles are diesel. They're all standard gasoline vehicles, and they maxed out our credit card, our gas card, purchasing gas, but the process to actually dispute that with the gas company, the company that we have the card with, is extraordinary. And they make you jump through so many hurdles because they don't want to have to go through the process themselves to prove that this was fraud. But that's a whole other story.
So many freaking hurdles that you have to go
But
through.
the point is still that we caught it, and only because when the gas card comes, you hadn't opened it, and I did, and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I've never been to this state, in the last like 20 years. To purchase gasoline or to even visit the state, but here is 2 charges for only a couple pennies off. But they cleaned out our total credit line, everything, and we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But another thing that they recommend that you do is when it comes to your gas cards, your credit cards, your credit lines, and stuff like that, is you frequently change your password to access those actual online banking, to access your actual online access to your credit cards or whatever. Change it, but by God, heaven's sakes, do not write it down and keep it in a place where people are going to have access to it. There are frightening stories to how some members of families have come over to visit and have found a piece of paper like this sitting on the desk with the passwords and login information for so many different accounts that grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, somebody who they were going to abuse and steal their information and open credit lines or drain them financially for, and was sitting right there on a desk next to the computer because they said, well, I couldn't remember it. I can't keep up with that information, so I wrote it down. Well, that's great, but you don't have to keep the piece of paper right there next to the keyboard. If you're going to write it down, put that piece of paper in a place where you remember. And you can do what I do. I do the same thing. I write it all down on a piece of paper and I keep it in a safe place. I put it in the safe. I put the actual piece of paper in the safe, and I always remember once every couple months as I update all the passwords and login information, I put it all on a piece of paper and I lock it away in the safe. And it's routine to to remember where I put that piece of paper every time. It always goes in the safe in the same place on the shelf every single time. And I make it a repetitive thing so I always remember where those passwords are. And where I might have to go to the safe occasionally and go, well, what was that password again? Oh yeah, that's what I changed it to. Another thing that they suggest that you do is install antivirus protection on not only your computer but your smartphone and your tablets and any other device that you have. A good companies out there that will protect you against certain malware and viruses. Norton and McCaffrey both have the highest level of protection against viruses and malware for computer, cell phone, and tablets. There are free ones, and my wife is a proponent of whatever doesn't cost me a penny, antivirus. But
I
they
use
don't
Avast.
offer the same protection, and they will not. In a lot of cases, these programs do not catch the newest version of that malware or virus that gets transmitted through the internet. But they will catch the older ones.
I use Avast, and Avast has paid options as well.
But again, there are these older free versions don't necessarily catch the newest version, the newest update, and they tweak them on purpose. The crooks out there are purposely doing this, changing it slightly so it will try to get it past the antivirus programs that are out there running on devices. Next suggested item that the Department of Justice says that you should do is always keep your social security number off of anything at all. If you're going to keep a list of your passwords and your identification, and put it away in the safe, put it in a desk drawer, wherever you're putting it. But whatever you do, never write your social security number on there along with the rest of that information. You know your social security number, and if you don't, you know where your social security card is. Maybe it's in your wallet, maybe it's not, or wherever you keep it, you know where it is. But don't write your social security number down on it. Never ever share your personal information with somebody who calls you or contacts you by phone and says that they are working with Visa, MasterCard, Facebook, or whatever. If somebody calls you and asks for personal information like that, or maybe they say they're even your bank and they need you to log in to give them access, or your card has been compromised. These are all scams. One of the other ones that is scams that hits elderly and older populations a lot is if your niece or nephew or someone grandson, somebody who is was traveling somewhere and got into some legal trouble and needs you to wire them money right away so they can get out of that legal trouble, or their car broke down or something along that line. Tugging on the heartstrings of the grandparent is what they call it. But Okay. You look like you're about to fall asleep over there. So I'll hurry up a little bit, speak a little bit faster for her before she falls asleep.
It's so hot in here.
Yeah, it is. This is actually cool right now compared to where it's been when it was 110 outside and it was a fucking oven in here. And I still had to come here and work every day. And I told you I needed an air conditioner. How far did that get? A box fan, something more than what I have now.
Are you done having a tantrum?
No. The next one on the list, the Department of Justice suggests is when you are on social media, stop answering these stupid polls that are posted on social media asking you, what would do you remember the first phone number you have? How many items from this list, have you done? Add them up and give us a score. These polls are made to try to gain access to your personal information. Look at them. Next time you see one of these on social media, especially on Facebook, look at the actual question and how it's phrased. That you're going to see a majority of like maybe 50 items or whatever, and it's going to say, have you ever been to California? Did you live in California? They're going to ask you, maybe you lived in California or been to California. One is number one, and the other one's like number 30. But you can cross-reference from both sides of the list, draw direct lines, asking you, have you visited or do you live there? What are they trying to do? Is they're trying to gain access to your security questions that you're going to use because the majority of people are going to pick what was the name of your first pet? There's a same question. Hey, my first pet, and they always suggest something that is very obvious. Well, is your pet's first name on this list? No, it's not. Well, I'll answer mine. My pet's first name was Biff or Puppy or Kitty or something like that. What was your pet's first name? You're going to write that down. And that way they can actually narrow it down when trying to guess your security question to gain access to your actual account. That's what these polls are actually made for. And then people will cut and paste or share that with somebody else, and it just expands. So all they got to do is go after a couple people, maybe 10 people, and post it, these links to these 10 people, they share it. But those 10 people, 5 of them will share it, and then it expands out from there. And now that person who is fishing for information on you, your security question, now they've got 400 people that they can look at, go, whoa, look at this, and how it was shared through the entire thing. Because each and every one of them have a link that attaches back to the first one because they want to share that actual link. So all they have to do is scroll down. Oh, look, you're shared here, 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 and here. And they can guess, well, look at all these people who just freely gave up possible answers to their security question. What was your pet's first name? What city were you born in? These are all common questions that people pick, and then the answer to their security questions on a lot of things. Again, but finally, financial identity theft is the number one most committed type of fraud in the world, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just a thing here in America. It happens everywhere. The largest boom is in developing countries, especially in India right now, where people are stealing, the identities of those who have raised up from the working class and are more middle class to upper, class in India. Those people are being hit the hardest, and not the same way you would think that Americans are. It's a lot easier to steal the identity and use these people for fraud. And a lot of it, yes, is coming out of South America, Africa, and the Soviet Union or former Soviet bloc countries. That's where a large majority of these crimes are being committed. And when it comes to identity theft and crimes of financial identity theft, and damage to somebody else. Countries like South Africa and the former Soviet Union bloc countries, they turn an actual and look the other way as long as the victim of the crime wasn't in your country. Yes, these actual fraudsters are driving around in Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Porsches, and they're flaunting the fact that the money that they got was through fraud by buying actual personalized license plates in their language that say fraudster, identity theft, and that is their personalized license plate. They're flaunting that they're stealing it and they're destroying other people because the country will not enforce actual crimes against them on if it took place outside of their actual country. They don't care as long as they're making money and they're spending it in their country. That's all they care about. So, if you need more information on identity theft and other resources, you can go to usa.gov. It is a great website, and it'll break down the actual statistics on the financial identity theft that happens to just Americans. And again, when it comes to someone stealing your identity and all other fraud associated with that, 1 in 20 adults will have some form of identity or financial loss to identity theft in their lifetime. 1 in 20 adults. There's absolutely no reason why you can't spend a couple hours a month just being diligent and actually working to stop this from happening to you, because you can be destroyed. It may not just be that. Somebody could gain your identity and have medical services taken out, surgeries, and everything else, rack up millions of dollars in actual costs, and then it all come back on you in the end. But Identity Guard is a great resource to protect your actual identity. Identity Force and Experience and LifeLock also have services that will help you lock your credit history and stop identity theft from ever taking place. Again, that's Identity Guard, Identity Force, Experian, the credit agency. They have a service that the Department of Justice recommends. Red line, and along that same line is LifeLock. They're all four equally, and highly touted within the identity theft and cyber security and so on.
As Will pointed out, a lot of financial abuse happens from people that the victims know. And I just want to say, and we've said before in some other scenarios, if you have a weird feeling, if something doesn't feel right to you, listen to yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
If you've got a cousin that you only hear from once a month, or once a year or whatever, and he's calling you, and oh hey cuz, how are you? Blah 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 blah, whatever. And if you feel anything hinky, listen to your gut. Don't agree to co-sign for something. Don't agree to put some stuff away. Like if you feel like someone might be looking to take advantage of you, I would rather that you be wrong and protect yourself than you be right and get taken advantage of.
And at the same time, it also needs to be said that don't be in fear of family reprisal against you. If a family member is not going to understand, that you can't take yourself and put yourself on the line for that niece and nephew to co-sign for a lease or a rental agreement for them, if they're not willing to understand that, you don't need family like that, who is going to put you in a situation where you feel guilty about not doing it because you are trying to protect your well-being. I hear about it all the time, and I've seen horror stories where it's like, grandma did, or grandpa or aunt or uncle or somebody who's in a position where they could financially afford to help out, and they said, no, I'd just rather not do something like that. And then the family, said, well, you know what? We're not talking to you anymore because you didn't want to help Timmy, get off the streets. Now look at him and his girlfriend and their 4 kids are living in a homeless shelter. Just think about this in this way. Why in the hell didn't the parents not do it? Why didn't they step up for little Timmy and his wife and their 4 children? If they didn't do it, why didn't her family do it? Why does it always have to come to you, the grandparent, to bail out the grandson that you only see once or twice, who has never sent you a Christmas card or anything? In his entire 24 years of existence, he's never sent you even a finger painting. That child is a selfish little, you fill in the blank there. The parents are rotten pieces. You fill in the blank there, because they shouldn't rely on you to bail them out of situations. And don't ever let them make you feel guilty for not stepping up and doing something where you could be financially put at risk for that person. I mean, I'm not telling you not to ever help your family. We help our family a lot, and we will continue to help our family down the road. But at the same time, when somebody helped us out when we were younger and we didn't have money and we didn't have the means, we made damn sure that we repaid every single penny to that person and made them whole, if not better off than they were beforehand. Because see, you know what? That's called morals and ethics. That's what we have. And your family should have the same thing for you.
Very well put.
Yeah. So that's it for today's podcast episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and that the weather is good. If you can, get out and go for a walk today. If nothing else, I know a lot of people out there. I've read the comments section. Arthritis really acting up, whatever. There's a lot of really easy homeopathic things you can do for arthritis. You can try. If not, there are exercise videos here on YouTube where they have just a standing, free sitting chair of exercises that you can do sitting in one place where you don't even have to get up, or you stand behind the chair and you exercise in a low impact way. But do something for yourself today to help yourself, your heart, and your mind out today. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next weekend.
Bye.